Was she murdered with a firearm that she purchased only days before? On May 15th, 2020, police were called to 604 North Horton Street in Searcy. That call started out as a welfare call because EMT Madison Clevenger had not shown up to work that day. Madison's father, Jason Clevenger, her sister, Casey, and an EMT colleague all went to Madison's home to check on her. A Searcy police officer also responded to the home. They could hear Madison's dog barking inside the home, so they really felt like something was wrong. Madison's father, Jason, chose to get inside the home to check on Madison, and he did that by pushing in a window air conditioner. When Jason got inside the home, he found a gruesome scene. His daughter, Madison, was in her bed. She had been shot once in the back of the head. It was believed that Madison Clevenger died from a 9mm gunshot wound, and a projectile was found underneath her cheek. Not only that, but her phone was found by her head, and it was actually on a reset screen, like someone tried to reset her phone to factory settings to wipe the data from the phone. Jason told police that Madison had purchased a Glock 48 9mm handgun, and it looked like that handgun was missing from Madison's home as they were looking around after the shooting. There were no signs of forced entry in Madison's home, and as you know, because her father had to push in the air conditioner to get into her home, her house was locked up. So the first person that came to police's mind in the shooting of Madison Clevenger was a man named Andrew Skinner. Andrew Skinner was actually an ex of Madison's sister, Casey. And Andrew Skinner seemed to be pretty angry with Madison. He had threatened the life of her dog. He used a key that he found in her mailbox to break into her apartment and kidnap her dog. He threatened to harm Madison's sister and told Madison the blood would be on her hands. So there were several reasons why police wanted to talk to Andrew Skinner. Police did obtain a search warrant to search Andrew's home, looking for evidence that he was involved in the murder of Madison, but they didn't find any evidence, and Andrew Skinner actually had an alibi, so he was no longer a person of interest in Madison's murder. The second person was Madison's ex-husband, Charles Stacy, and they just wanted to talk to Charles Stacy because of some journal entries that Madison made. Madison and Charles got a divorce, and apparently it wasn't the most pleasant divorce, like divorce ever is. So they just wanted to speak to him. And police quickly decided that Charles Stacy had nothing to do with the murder of his ex-wife. The person that police wanted to speak to more than any other person was actually Madison's boyfriend at the time of her death, and his name is Hunter Bishop. At the time of Madison's murder, Hunter Bishop already had a felony warrant out of Kansas and another warrant from White County, Arkansas. As part of the investigation, police learned that a neighbor saw a small vehicle pulling away from Madison's home around 3 o'clock in the morning, just after hearing a gunshot. Police also found that Madison Clevenger's internet router was reset at 3 a.m., so a lot of things going on there at the 3 a.m. hour. The neighbor did clarify his comment at trial that he meant a small car, as in not a truck or an SUV. Hunter Bishop was actually known to drive a Chrysler 300, which would have been a car, not a truck or an SUV. It's not a small car like a Ford Focus or a Chevrolet Cavalier would be, but it is a car. So Hunter Bishop was still wanted for questioning in the murder of Madison Clevenger. And eventually he was seen driving his vehicle and a traffic stop was made. So I said that Madison Clevenger had a missing weapon from her home when she was murdered, a weapon that she purchased 4 days before her murder. But Hunter Bishop actually accompanied her to purchase this weapon. Not only did Hunter go with her to buy the Glock 48, but he also went with Madison to do target practice. So when Hunter's vehicle was stopped, Hunter actually did not stop automatically. Hunter actually went for a distance before stopping. When Hunter did get out of the vehicle, which he didn't want to do, he was wearing a holster that had no gun in it. So because Hunter Bishop was a felon, it was a crime for him to have a gun in his possession, which police didn't see a gun right away, but they just saw the holster like he had a gun in his possession at some point. Hunter wearing a holster and the police having belief that Hunter did have a weapon in his possession, it might have given police enough to be able to search his car without a warrant, but they went ahead and waited for a search warrant anyway. So Hunter Bishop was handcuffed and taken to the Searcy Police Department to be questioned. When police searched Hunter Bishop's vehicle, they did find that the weapon that was missing from Madison Cleavenger's home, the Glock 48, was shoved down between the driver's seat and the console. So it's likely that that's the reason it took Hunter so long to stop. He was trying to shove the gun in between the seat and the console so that it wasn't seen, in hopes that he wouldn't be arrested. Police also found a Crown Royal bag that had several 9mm bullets and an extra 9mm magazine. So Hunter Bishop was arrested and charged with capital murder and possession of a firearm by a certain person for the murder of Madison Cleavenger. So much more information came out about this case at trial, like the fact that the bullet that shot Madison Cleavenger was definitely fired from the gun that she had purchased. Also, an ex-girlfriend of Hunter Bishop's testified that Hunter Bishop actually became obsessed with death over the course of her relationship with Hunter. She said that it escalated and that he had thoughts of killing someone and was obsessed with the thought of getting a gun. He bragged about how he could sneak in and out of houses without being detected. And I got to tell you, that just kind of gives me chills considering the crime that was committed. She said that Hunter Bishop pressured her heavily to buy a gun for him because he couldn't buy one for himself because he was a felon. So to the point that she actually decided that fine, she would just go ahead and help him buy a gun against her better judgment. And she went to the store to do that. Hunter went with her. And I guess the store owner must have got a sense that Hunter was actually the one buying the gun through her. So the store owner refused to sell a gun to her. That's the only reason that Hunter didn't have a gun before he got the one with Madison. Because if you remember, he went with Madison to buy that Glock 48. In March of 2022, Hunter Bishop was found guilty by a jury of capital murder. The possession of a firearm by a certain person was dropped prior to the trial. Hunter Bishop was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and he is in the Arkansas Department of Corrections now. Hunter Bishop has filed an appeal saying that the officer that placed him in handcuffs did not have a right or reason to ask for him to step out of the vehicle. Of course, as we know, Hunter Bishop, when he stepped out of the vehicle, gave the officer plenty of reason after that point to search the vehicle, but did the officer have a right to ask him to get out of the vehicle? And so that appeal is still pending. But as for right now, Hunter Bishop is in the ADC. It looks like Madison Cleavenger was an extremely loved person by so many people, and she could have been so much to so many, but that was taken away from the world by Hunter Bishop. This is done in memory of Madison Cleavenger. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share.